Hello again to Mr. Mayor's Book Chats. Today I'm going to talk to you about the last few books on the Abe Lincoln list for Illinois. Again, these are books picked by librarians and teachers all over the state of Illinois as some of the best books for high school readers. First one is called A Heart and a Body in the World. And it's about a girl named Annabelle who is from Seattle and seems to have it all. She's pretty, she's hardworking, she has good grades, a great family, great friends. But something in her life happens, this tragedy, and Annabelle is racked with guilt over this crime, a crime she didn't commit, but she feels kind of responsible for it. So she's racked with, she suffers from severe anxiety and PTSD from this traumatic crime. And the only thing she can feel good doing is running. And she decides to start running. And she decides she's going to run from Seattle all the way across the country. And what starts out as a crazy idea, she just continues to run. And her grandpa kind of follows her in an RV, and her friends, and it's picked up by the media a little bit, and it's told in present tense. But she's also kind of has some flashbacks, and you get to know what she's running away from. This book tackles all kinds of big issues like rape culture and violence, internalization of guilt, and running away from your feelings and mental illness. So it's kind of a quiet book, but it's an excellent look into the mind of this teenage girl. Next book is called Will Fly Away. And this is kind of an interesting one. It is told through letters from character on death row. And this is about two friends that they'd been friends forever, Luke and Toby. And Toby's father was a drunk, kind of a petty criminal, beats on him, beats on the girlfriends he has in his life. And Luke always kind of gives him a place to stay. So Luke and Toby are both dealing with all kinds of issues as they're growing up. But during their senior year, they start drifting apart. Luke's dealing with his kind of unreliable mother and her new boyfriend, and Toby begins to get drawn into his father's world of drinking and drugs, and he ends up falling for an older woman. And all of their long-held dreams that they were going to be best friends for life and we're going to be successful together, all of that begins to unravel. This book explores family and love and sex and abuse and friendship and the length a person will go to kind of rekindle that friendship. That, even though they had drifted apart, they're still there for each other in the end. So this one, again, called Will Fly Away. Next one is a graphic novel that some of you may have already read. It's called Hey Kiddo. And it's about Jarrett Kroska's the author. This is a memoir. And in kindergarten, he remembers that his teacher asks him to draw his family with the mom and dad. But Jarrett's family is not that. It's much more complicated than that. His mom's an addict, in and out of rehab. His dad has never been a part of his life. And he's being raised by his grandparents. And Jarrett is trying to go through life with this non-normal life as best he can, as normal as possible. And he finds an escape through drawing. So this is his story of growing up. This won't take you real long to read, but it's kind of an interesting and kind of a brutal look into this author's life and how he came and became a better person because of all of it. Next book is called The Nickel Boys, and even though it's a shorter one, this packs a punch. This is set in the 1960s, kind of in the deep South. This is about a teenager named Elwood, who is a law-abiding teenager. He's a smart kid. He's a hard worker, but he hitches a ride one day because he needs a ride home. And it turns out that the person who picked him up had stolen that car. And the police pull them over and arrest them both and send him to Nickel Academy. He's sentenced to Nickel Academy, this juvenile reform school that looks somewhat like, on the outside, it looks great, but on the inside, it is awful. It is a monstrously racist institution where they get beaten, they get sexually abused. It's just an awful, awful place to be. And once Elwood is in there, he feels like he has to leave. He cannot live like this. But there's other characters in the book that are just kind of resigned to, this is the way it is. We're Black. We don't have any other choice. This is inspired by a real place, by a real kind of school institution that was down in Florida. So it kind of explores this awful history of the country that sometimes gets overlooked. So interesting book. Next one, I don't have a copy of. It's checked out. It's called Price of Duty. It is by Todd Strasser, and it's about a kid named Jake Liddell, and people consider him a hero because he comes back. He's in the military, and he comes back from duty. The military is awarding him a Silver Star for his heroic achievements, a huge honor because the rest of Jake's family has been in the military. And now that he's home recovering from an injury, but Jake feels torn because he feels like the war is kind of following him back and he can't escape it. He needs pills to get any sleep. A young woman that he meets is trying to persuade him to try to talk against the war. And his grandfather's trying to get him, you need to re-up. You need to get back over there. And he doesn't know what to do. Nothing's making sense for him anymore. This book kind of shows all that goes with, being in the military and being at war with an enemy, but also with yourself as well. And the last book on this is called Slay. It's about a girl who creates this massive multiplayer online role-playing game dedicated to Black culture. Because, as an African-American woman, she doesn't think that there's a lot of games for her and for African Americans. So she decides to create this herself for Black gamers. And it's called Slay. And although Kiera is proud of the game and the safe space it's become for hundreds of thousands of participants, because it kind of blows up, she keeps her identity as the lead developer a secret from everyone, including her boyfriend, who believes video games are just kind of a way to waste time. He doesn't really get it. But then when a dispute in the online world spills into the real world and a teen is murdered, the media discovers that, dives a little bit into the Slay world, and they cry racism because it's focusing just on the African Americans. So Kiera has to fight not only to protect her identity, but the online community that she's developed. So if you like gaming, if you like mysteries, check this one out. All of these are available in the library. Hope you check them out and hope you enjoy them.